Om Namah Shivaya. Today I will repeat a little bit of what I was speaking about last satsanga. Self, power of the self, unlimited individual. Shiva, self, power of the self, Shakti, the power of the self, his aham, his I am, his I consciousness, his power, unlimited individual, Nara, the eternal triad. I will read this part. The self is inconceivable. He cannot be described in any way. He is without any name. Yes, he's achintya, we said in our previous satsanga, achintya, achintya, achintya. Inconceivable, incomprehensible, unexpected. It's very strange. It's inconceivable. You see, achintya. What? What? Name of Shiva. Name of Shiva. So the self, Shiva, is inconceivable, achintya. You cannot even think about him. You cannot even think. You cannot even delineate in thought what he is. You can say, well, he's like a little sphere of light. No. This is the last thing you see, a dot of light, blue light. It's the last form you see in him. After this, you experience nothing. But there is something. It's not nothingness like in Buddhism. No, it's impossible to describe because it's the nowhere. This nowhere. This. You cannot see the nowhere. It's inconceivable. He's without any name. One has to use words or expressions such as self, highest reality, or reality, God, Lord, that, etc. These words are aparamartika. Aparamartika. They are not the real self, but they are not paramartika. They are not the real self, the highest reality. But the self invented these words. Shiva invented these words, Lord, self, God, yes, that, for people to deal with him, for people to communicate with him. These words which have been created by himself in order to deal with him. And since the self can be masculine, feminine, neuter, or even something else, you can use he, she, or it. You can call him that. I told you in the previous satsanga, yes, that, Sanskrit. Tattvamasi, that you are, is the slogan of Siddha Yoga, or my guru's movement, yes, guru's spiritual movement. Tattvamasi come from the Vedas, the Mahavakyas, or great statements. That, tvam, you, asi, are. That you are that. Tattvamasi. Asi come from the verb as. As is not like in English, but were, yes, as is to be, to exist, not to be in a position. To be in a position is sta. For example, I am in a state. So this is to be in a position, not to be, to exist. So it's as. So you conjugate as me, I am, as you are, as he is, well, and like this. Tota tuamasi. To make readers' life any easier, I will use the masculine gender to refer to the self. Though sometimes I could also use the neuter gender, because to start to speak with the Lord like a woman is for most people, especially in the West, with the masculine God, yes, it's very complicated. What is this? A woman, God. Nobody can know the self directly because the self is the absolute knower. It's like the shadow of your head. When you try to you try to step on the shadow of your head, the head moves immediately. You can never stop on the shadow of your head. Try to do it. When there is sun, try to do it. Try to step on the shadow of your head. You cannot. All the time the shadow moves forward, moves forward. In the same way, when you try to know the knower, he all the time escapes from you. One can perceive, realize, feel him, and so on, but one cannot know him ever. He is not an object to be known, but the supreme knower. There is no way to outline him, even in thought. He is not a light or a sound or any other supernatural vision, sound, supernatural sound, etc. No. Oh, I see a light, Guruji, in meditation. This is God. No. God is the one watching the light. You. God is the one watching the void. You. But you cannot see yourself. Therefore, if the self were only such as he is, inconceivable, the limited individuals would be doomed to experience spiritual ignorance forever. If he's inconceivable all the time. Fortunately, there is also his power. The power of the self is also inconceivable, but a limited individual can get in touch with the residual manifestation of this power. What's the meaning of this? The residual manifestation, because the power of the self is inconceivable like him. That's why the power of the self. If she moves a little bit from the self, the power of the self, Shakti, moves a little bit from Shiva, so she is not Shakti of Shiva. But anyway, we can speak about the residual manifestations of this Shakti. For example, the goddesses of the senses. So we can get in touch with these goddesses of the senses, for example, these Karaneshwaris. And through this contact with them, we can enter into Shiva, into Shakti. And if we enter into Shakti, we enter into Shiva because they are one. You need experience to understand this. You start to be blissful because you watch. You start to be blissful because you hear. This is when you are in contact with the goddesses of the senses. Now, when you hear, you are not blissful. You hear. Even if you hear nice music, yeah, you can be a little happy, but not blissful in a divine state. But when you are in contact with the goddess of the power of hearing, this is Strotrendriya, this power of hearing, Tattva 17, after Manas. So you are in contact with the goddess and you feel bliss because the goddess is bliss, is one with Shakti. And Shakti is Ananda, Shakti is bliss. So you feel the bliss of Shakti. And when you are in contact with the bliss of Shakti, you can be in contact with Shiva, with the inconceivable God. But you don't feel bliss. So you are still with Arnavamala, with this spiritual ignorance. To defeat this spiritual ignorance, I needed 26 years. 26 years. So it's not something you do overnight. Yes. Oh, look at the big baby. It's not something you can do overnight. You know what is overnight? We say in Spanish, we don't say in Spanish overnight. We say de la noche a la mañana. From the night to the morning. You cannot, it's not so fast. It's a gradual process to finally remove completely Arnava Mala. You need to study scriptures. You need to remove Bauta Jnana. You need the grace of Shiva to remove Paurusha Jnana. It's a gradual process. There is a simple example to explain the relationship between the self, the power of the self, and the limited individuals. Obviously, approximately way to describe the real fact, because the self, his power, and the limited individual are ultimately one and the same highest reality. So this example should be taken as what it is, an example in duality of three realities that are one and the same thing essential. The self in this example would be like the sun. The sun, no sun. Sun, the star. While its rays stand for his power. Stand for in English is represent. So the rays represent his power, Shakti. The sun is Shiva. Finally, the planets around such a sun are the limited individuals. It's an example in duality for you to understand. The problem with this example is that his power is not visible like the sun rays. You don't see a ham. Yes? Let alone the cell himself. You cannot see like you see the sun. Accordingly, a better example would be a system with a very small black hole in the middle. There are systems like this, with instead of a sun, a black hole in the middle. Nobody can see it, and it's powered directly. You feel the power, but you cannot see the power of the black hole. You see the attraction that is pulling you, but you don't see this power. But rather only you don't see, nobody can see it and its power directly, but rather only its effects can be perceived. I'm not establishing a physical reality that is possible in real life, but it's just an example for you to have a better idea about the self, his power, and the limited individual. But most of the time, you don't feel this black hole in you because he's contracted. Arnavamala, contract. So you don't feel. But when Arnavamala is removed, you feel him. I remember all this. It's obvious. Attracts you. This power. All is about, at the end, is about experience. Nothing. Therefore, nobody can perceive the self and his power, but all the limited individuals notice their presence. Little, when they are with Arnavamala, they notice a hum, but not so strong. But when Arnavamala is removed, you notice a hum very strongly. A hum, a hum, a hum, a hum, a hum. It's obvious because you move to tattva 5, 4, 3, and all the beings in those tattvas live in a hum. And their bodies are Bindu, are a hum. Bindu is a hum, is Shakti. That's why they are called Vaindavadehas, the one whose bodies, their dehas are Bindu, Vaindava. Their presence, all of them notice. A black hole, due to its massive force of gravity, not only attracts matter, but it can also emit matter into the space. Yes, you know, they emit matter because why they emit matter? Because they swallow so much matter that they cannot assimilate all this matter. So part of the matter they expulse through the poles of the black hole, like two rays like this. Something very similar occurs with reference to the self and his power. The self, though impossible to be conceived, can emit an entire universe, and after a while he can dissolve it into himself again. So he emits and attracts and dissolves himself. Anyway, he always does so through his power and not directly. But how to imagine the power of a black hole? It's impossible to imagine. How? The power of the black hole is the black hole. In the same way, Shakti, you cannot imagine Shakti like separated from Shiva. It's one with him. Aham is one with him. So he does so he emits and attracts the self through his power and not directly. Directly, he's not involved. That's why he doesn't suffer. When you are in the self, you don't suffer. That's why Jesus Christ, yes, and on the cross there, crucified, suffering. If he was in the self, in God, he cannot suffer. He couldn't suffer. You feel nothing. It's like when you get liberation, you abandon the body, but you don't suffer. You die, literally, but you don't suffer at all. Because Shiva is completely isolated from the rest of the universe. He doesn't suffer. What is that? People say, what is a state where I don't suffer? It's like kind of anesthesia. When you have anesthesia, you don't suffer. When you do gastroscopy, you did gastroscopy, some of you did gastroscopy. My wife only, nobody did it. When you go to gastroscopy with anesthesia, you fear, yes? Like the little baby, you fear. Little baby is watching. But it's not like the dentist. When you go to the dentist, it's some local anesthesia and you are watching all the time the driller and you are watching all the time the dentist on you. But with gastroscopy, no. You go there and you put like this, the gastroscopy in the stomach. You put like this and put this arm like this, in this position. Anesthesia through some needle in your arm. Yes. And you are watching like this. And next, when you wake up again, finish the process. It's like this, it's like sleeping. You, what's happening? And you don't remember anything. Next, you wake up again, okay, finish, everything is finished. The doctor says, все, okay, in Russian. Okay, this is gastroscopy. It's all the process. Now, without anesthesia, oh, look at you, yes, with the tube inside. But some people do it with anesthesia. Good luck with them, with that. But so it's not something so terrible. So, oh my God, it's not that the dentist. The dentist is worse. Okay. Modern science teaches now in October 2020, because I was writing the book at that time, in October 2020, that the universe was created a long time ago by something that they cannot define yet. Accordingly, this universe could be destroyed in the far future in many possible ways. The scientists are still not sure about. They say many things about the future, many predictions, yes, but they are not sure enough, completely sure. Anyway, they like a lot to speculate. It's like when they speculate about the past, yes, but nobody saw that. The dinosaurs like this, like that, but nobody saw that. Maybe they were all of them, how is fluorescent? Nobody knew. They put the dinosaur with feathers, sometimes or without feather, yes, like crocodile, but nobody knows the real color. dinosaurs. Maybe they were fluorescent, yes, fuchsia or something like that. Nobody knows the color. Nobody knows what happened at that time because nobody was at that time. Limited individual at that time present and watching dinosaurs, for example. Or what killed, and yet what was that killed, and nobody knows. They speculate all the time. And it's nice to speculate, yes, because you can enjoy some trip to the past with speculation. But for sure, 100% nobody knows. It's all speculation. The same about the future. They speculate about the future, what will happen to the universe. I specify the date because scientists are all the time changing the things with new theories. But the whole thing is that they know very, very, very little about the universe. This is always difficult to accept to everybody. This is about vanity in everybody. Vanity has problem to accept its inherent ignorance. It's very difficult for vanity to accept ignorance. Anyway, according to the system I'm teaching, the universe is manifested and reabsorbed at each instant, at every instant. I do not speak about creation and destruction, because the universe, being inherently an emanation from his power, is eternal like this power. All in all, nobody has ever been without universe, and nobody will be without universe in the future. You remember some state where you were without the universe? Only liberated person can remember. They are all full in a hum. Nobody else. The rest all the time with universe. Even Sadashiva is with universe. Fog universe, but he's with universe. All the time with universe. Every day you wake up and you are with universe. And in dreaming you are with universe too. Like your dreams. Or like the void in deep sleep. But all the time you have some manifestation in front of you. You are never in yourself alone. So according to this system, Big Bang is not important or never happened. Now there is a new series saying that Big Bang never happened. This Big Bang in the past never expanded the universe like this. It's a new theory that they are denying because imagine they have to change all again. Yes, all the scientists. The Big Bang is not valid. So they are resisting this new theory about that the Big Bang never happened. But according to Trika's system, if there is a Big Bang, it's all the time happening. Because all the time new objects appear, new objects disappear. Objects appear and disappear when you move your head, yes. So there is a Big Bang all the time. There is just a constant manifestation and reabsorption of it, of the universe, through the operation of the power of the self. It's in you. This universe is then manifested in the self by the power of the self, and next is reabsorbed into the self by the power of the self too. Nothing is created and destroyed because the entire universe is the cosmic body of the great Lord. To be creation or destruction has to be more than one Lord. It's only one Lord. Where is the creation? Where is the destruction? It's only a manifestation, an emanation, not a real destruction. Not a real manifestation, not a real creation. So nothing is created and destroyed because the entire universe is the cosmic body of the great Lord, the Self, which is eternal and imperishable. Despite the Self and his power being so mysterious and inconceivable, there is something that is even more mysterious and inconceivable. What is that? More than Shivan Shakti. The limited individual. Nada. Gabriel, Natalia, Iván, Raman, Elena, Liena, Tamash, The Sweet Baby, Dora, Mate, Robert, that is absent now, I don't know why. So, Irina, this is really mysterious. What are those people doing here? Because in the glory of the self and his power, how is it possible that these people appear? Just like you could not easily explain the presence of a planet situated at the center of the brilliant sun and anyway thriving regarding life, yes, because it's in the middle of the sun with 15 million degrees the temperature, you cannot imagine a planet in the middle of the sun, yes, thriving with life. It's impossible. In the same way, what are we doing here? What are we doing in the middle of the self? Because all this is the ocean of consciousness. All this, we are floating here. You see that you are floating in the ocean. It's like here is the ocean, and you are floating with your senses watching the goddesses. You realize this? It's about you. So what are they doing here? And on top of that, there are so many of them. Trillion, quadrillion, because every, for example, an ant is a purusha, is a limited being too. An insect, a plant, billion, trillion, quadrillion, quintillion. How many? And in other planes too, subtle planes, they exist. All these limited individuals should not exist at all, but they nevertheless do exist. Their presence is the greatest mystery. How do you manage to exist apart from God? It's because God wants it. If God doesn't want it, you cannot exist. So it's His will. And who are they? Even Raman, yes, who is this guy who appeared there with the cat, another limited individual? Who are they? The self, obviously. There is only one self and not two or more. So all of you are Shiva. But what are you doing with all these limitations? But how could the self become so limited and insignificant? How? Especially my Shikati is so little and insignificant. How? Through his inconceivable power. He's perfectly capable of becoming the wisest or the most foolish creature of the universe. From great deities down to the most trivial creatures. He's all of them. From Brahma, the creator of this material universe, down to the smallest, the tiniest microbe or particle, yes, in this universe. He became all of them. How to understand this? He's all of them. His power is, however, so immense. You can see this power in the galaxies, in the new discoveries by modern science, yes. New and new galaxies are being discovered by James Webb Telescope, yes. A lot of galaxies. So his power is so immense that he remains the self at all times, under all circumstances, despite he became all. Immense, huge, impossible to describe. He's everything and everyone. But at the same time, he's beyond everything and everyone. This is the mark of his absolute freedom. If the limited individual were not already the self, he could not realize the self ever in a constant way, because on his realization, the limited individual could lose the self again in the same way one can lose a ball after having bought it. So, if you are not the self, you can lose your state as the self. For example, the whole day you had to be careful not to lose yourself. You care the whole day about not losing yourself. For example, oh my God, I will lose myself. Be careful. No, you are the time living. You don't care about losing yourself. Yes, you live. Even if you are in full ignorance, you know that you exist. You never lose yourself. It's obvious. It's not like a ball that you can lose. It's constantly you. One can lose the ball because one is not the ball at all. Similarly, if one were not the self already, right here and right now, even full of limitations, then on realizing him, one could lose the self again, just like he could lose that ball. So you're not the self. When you realize the self in liberation, you can lose the self again, yes, after liberation. You can lose your state of liberation. But no, with the self it's not like this, because it's you. The consequences of this is an unstable realization or liberation, as at any moment one can fall into ignorance again. What kind of liberation is this? As this is not like that, as realization of the self remains with oneself forever, one is already the self. My reasoning comes from Paravairava's scriptures and not from an intellect contaminated by multiple wrong ideas, which are the outcome, the result of Bauddha Jnana or intellectual ignorance. Now, I'm going to give the usual names of the self, the power of the self, and the limited individual in Sanskrit according to the philosophical system I'm teaching. Self, another name for the self, Shiva, Prakasha, light, light with capital letters. Bhairava, power of the self, Shakti, Vimarsha, Bhairavi, and I didn't write the famous name of Shakti here, Spanda. Bhairavi because she's the consort of Bhairava, Shiva. She's the wife of Shiva in the literature. Limited individual, Nara. Nara comes from Nri. Nri is men. Nri. When you look for Nara, a man, a male person, Nara. Dictionary from Nri, they say there in Sanskrit. From Nri, a man, a person, Nara. You look for Nri, you have to write like this and here, Nri. Nri, a man, a person, whether male or female, Nri. Nri, a man, a hero, mankind, people. Nri, Nara. So another name is Arnu. Arnu means atom. Arnu. I have to write Arnu. Atom. An atom. Fine, minute, atomic, very little. Arnu. Shiva means auspicious. Shiva means auspicious. Another translation, they say that Shiva is where everything rests, from the verb shi, to rest, to lay down, is to lie down. Prakasha means light. Bhairava literally means frightful, formidable. Shakti means power. Vimarsha means awareness of that light, because Shakti is aware of that light of Prakasha. That's why she is Vimarsha. Bhairavi also means frightful, formidable, but in feminine gender. Nara means a man. Anu means atom. Shiva is Prakasha, or the light of the foundational consciousness. The foundational consciousness is called like this because it's the foundation of all. It's where all rests. Everything and everybody rests on him, right here and right now. All this is Shiva. We rest on him. Yes, we move, but we rest on him. I am, I am, I am. I rest on him. Because this I am is he is. He is. He lends me I am. I borrow I am from him. You understand me? Shakti is his power, who is aware of such a light. So Shakti is this awareness you have about this light around you. You see the light around you. Even in darkness, there is light. That's why you are conscious of darkness. It's so obvious that you are Shiva Shakti. I wonder for what you are spending so much time in spiritual path. It's incredible. It's automatic. Like this. So why you spend so much time in the spiritual path? If it's obvious that you are Shiva and Shakti. Who else? Shiva and Shakti were contracted. This little contraction makes you completely confused. Arnavamala, spiritual English. Both Shiva and Shakti are I am. I is Shiva and Am is Shakti. I am. That is, I do not only exist, but I know that I exist. Shiva and Shakti. Bhairava and Bhairavi are two frightful and formidable realities. You can tell me why frightful, why formidable? You know, yes, you fear them. Why? Well, you have a unique experience. When you confront them in liberation, you will fear a lot this state. Because destroy your individuality, your ego. Why so they are like this? Because they totally obliterate, destroy, obliterate, destroyed the limitation in nada or limited individual. Nada is a limited individual, a minute atom, a very little atom of limited consciousness. In turn, there are the supreme transcendental aspects of the self and his power. Transcendental, even higher than Shiva and Shakti. Paramashiva, the supreme Shiva, is Shiva in his highest aspect. Not even like I am, even beyond I am. Impossible to conceive. Completely inconceivable. Para Bhairava, the same guy, the supreme Bhairava. Para Shakti, the supreme Shakti, the same. Despite Abhinavagutta say that para includes para Shakti, but okay, this is Abhinavagutta knowledge that is very complex. Okay, in this case, Parashakti is Supreme Shakti, the highest Shakti. It's like Para according to Abhinavagupta. But Abhinavagupta separates Para from Parashakti. He said that there are two different realities. And Para is superior to Parashakti. So little by little, I'm introducing you into the Sanskrit universe in which the philosophical system I'm speaking about, Trika, Shaivism, is like a cluster of galaxies. It's like a racimo in Spanish, cluster of galaxies, like a racimo de galaxias. Metaphorically speaking. Oh, the little baby abandoned. And I also plan to dissolve the intellectual ignorance of the reader by gradually giving him the essence of the Paravairava scriptures. Now I will quote the aphorism 1 of the third section in Shiva Sutras, occurring in the Shiva Sutra, the aphorism of Shiva. Here the Holy Lord explains the nature of a limited individual. Atma Chitam. The individual self is the mind. The individual self, according to Lakshmana-ju, he said that this is not the individual self. Okay, I understand him. By individual self, I mean atati iti atma. Atati iti atma. What's the meaning of this in Sanskrit? Atma is the one who does atati, who moves. Atati means he moves all the time. Move from one body to another body, from one thought to another thought. This is the Atma referred to by Shiva. I call him individual self in my translation. According to Lakshmana-ju, the translation is not perfect, according to him. Okay, he didn't tell me as he was explaining, because he left the body before my translated. But to be perfectly translated, you have to put Atati iti Atma. This is the real Atma. It's not even individual self. But how to translate Atati iti Atma? That who does Atati, this is Atma. How to translate this? It's very complex. So I put individual self. Okay. So this Atma is moving from one body to another body all the time. This is the real Atma, not the individual self, to be technically accurate. Limited individual, limited being, conditioned being, individual self, and so on. All these terms are synonymous in my context. The aphorism expresses that the limited individual is completely identified with his mind. Completely identified with his mind. So he's not living his own life, but his mind's life. You are living the life of your mind. Your mind is called Liena, Gabriel, Robert, Natalia. Reality amounts to immutability. The self and his power never change at all. Why? Because they constitute the highest reality, which is totally immutable. On the contrary, the mind constantly changes, and since the limited individual is totally identified with it, he changes accordingly. But what is the mind? It's one residual manifestation of the power of the self, of Shakti. The senses of the physical and the physical body are also residual manifestations of such a power. All of them are real in the sense that they do exist, but they change. All of them, therefore, they cannot be real in the fullest sense of word, because they change. And the highest reality, Shiva Shakti, never change. Aham is Aham, forever. Aham is not Aham Gabriel. No, this is the limited individual. I am Gabriel. Aham is Aham, forever. That's why when the prophet asked the Lord, remember in the Bible, who, what will I call you? Who will I tell that you are? So God told, tell them that I am what I am. I am the one who I am. I am the one who I am. Never changes. God never changes. When you are in God, you never change. You are immutable. As the limited individual, or nada, arises from the identification of the self with the mind, he is doomed to change too. As a result, the limited individual changes and changes as if he were dancing to the tune of his own mind. The emergence of ideas and the resulting identification with them make the limited individual transmigrate. So you transmigrate because you are identified with your own ideas all the time. That's why you transmigrate. Samsara or transmigration implies constant mutation or change. A limited individual constantly changes due to different ideas arising in his mind. These ideas also affect the body. As the body changes, the limited individual also does so. One of the marks of Nara is that he is constantly in trouble. Even when he experiences pleasure, he's suffering. This happens because of his inherent incapacity to enjoy. That's why, in the end, even that pleasure turns into pain. You all the time have some problem to enjoy. The limitation in your organs, for example. For example, you want to have sex, you cannot have sex the whole day because your organs will protest and you will have to stop. That's why all the time the limited individual is suffering, even when he's enjoying pleasure. He's suffering. He's suffering because karma. If he's doing some bad action to have pleasure, for example, if that person is married and is having sex with another person, he's suffering because he's cheating on another person, or he's suffering because karma will catch him or her later. Blah, 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 blah. He's all the time in trouble, all the time suffering. Impossible for him not to suffer. If he has money, he suffers. If he doesn't have money, he suffers. He suffers all the time. You know this guy, yes? He's called Tamash, Liena, Robert, this guy. Natalia, Gabriel, all the time suffering. He has a body, and this body is a root of suffering for everything. So all the time he's suffering. The illusion is to believe that I suffer and other people don't suffer. No, everybody suffers. Because everybody are controlled by the same rule. Everybody is controlled by the same rules or laws of ignorance. So abandon the idea that you alone suffer. Nobody else suffers. Everybody suffers. I can go to Congo now, and there some black guy will tell me, choco choco, choco chochongo, pipi chipi, but he will tell me, really, I suffer. Sorry. I will go to Vietnam, and they will tell me, that all is suffering. Because all of them are suffering. It doesn't matter if they have a big hat like Vietnamese, or they have no hat like in Russia, or whatever. They are suffering. Suffer and suffer. All the time they are protesting. All the time they are protesting because they suffer and suffer. And they suffer for everything. They suffer because they are gays, for example, they suffer. Or they suffer because everything. It's all for suffering. Because I'm gay, I suffer. I'm not gay, I suffer too because I'm not gay. If I all the time suffer for everything. If you are a woman, you suffer because you're a woman. You're a man, you suffer because you're a man. You suffer for everything. And even you create communities of people suffering to suffer together. Feminists, for example, they have communities of women suffering. So all the same, never, we don't want to suffer anymore. Yes, and then you have communities of LGBTQ, all these letters, I don't know what's the meaning. So all of them suffer, suffering together. We suffer. We don't want to suffer. They protest all the time, but they continue to suffer. Why they suffer? Because they have needs. They have needs. They want to enjoy pleasure. When you want to enjoy pleasure, you suffer. You don't want to enjoy pleasure, you don't suffer. I'm a woman. You want to enjoy your pleasure like a woman, so you suffer. I'm a man, so you suffer. I'm a lesbian. I'm a gay. how is the other? Bisexual. I'm queer. I don't know what is queer, but I read this word the other day. I don't know what is the new thing. Some invention by Shakti to generate more suffering. And you suffer because you have some needs to satisfy. For example, I'm myself. I don't have any federation. What federation? Federation of the yogis. I don't belong to any federation. I'm not feminist. I'm not machist. I'm not gay. I'm not lesbian. I'm nothing. I don't have any needs. I don't need anything. My sex is only for like a decoration. So I don't have any needs. I don't care. So I don't need any federation because I don't need to enjoy with my sex. I enjoy myself. So I don't need all this. So I don't suffer because of this. You understand me? These are great yogis. That's why great yogis don't have federation. Like G, Y, great yogi. G, Y, I belong to the G, Y. No, there is nothing of this. They enjoy themselves. They're not suffering like the rest of people. When you have a need, you suffer. What's your need? You have needs, yes? You need something. I need money. I need sex. I need something. Well, you suffer. You want to stop suffering. Don't belong to any group. You don't want to belong to any group. You want to be completely glorious. Okay, don't have any needs. Easier said than done, obviously, because you all the time have some needs. I want a better salary. You suffer all the time like this, because all the time you have this sensation that someone owes you something, but nobody owes you anything. There's no proof that someone owes you something. For example, you are mistreated by society. Society owes you something. No, illusion. There's no debt. That's why people suffer, yes, because there is no debt. When you realize that there is no debt, that nobody owes you anything, you enjoy. Start to enjoy. When you demand, because there is some debt, but there is no debt. Everything is completely fair. You got this body in this country, in this planet, it's completely fair. There's no mistake. No, why I'm like this? Why? No, there's no mistake. Why in this country? Why I was born in Ghana? You had to be born in Ghana. So you were born in Ghana, suffering there with all the Ghanaian. It's like this. But nobody accepted. All of them are protesting. They don't accept their condition. That's why acceptance is very important to mitigate suffering. Accept your condition. You have this body. I don't have the body of Brad Pitt, yes? Oh, this is the face of Brad Pitt. No, I have this face. You what to do? Something. Okay. It's like this. Why I had to improve my face to look like Brad Pitt? No. I accept it. Okay. Thank you. It's my face. It's the face I receive, the body I receive. Why I have to have muscles like Schwarzenegger? I don't want to have muscles. No. It's not the way to enjoy. The way to enjoy is to accept, not to become someone else. Accept what you are. And it's completely fair. God didn't make any mistake. You are in that country, the country you are from, you're in that country because this is the right country for you. For what? To develop, to evolve, to get liberation. For example, I got liberation in Argentina. I wasn't protesting there. Why in Argentina? Why I'm here? Why? No, no, it's the perfect country for my liberation. Why? For example, in Argentina, a lot of women are feminists. So instead of protesting why women are feminists, I enjoy my celibacy. Because when women are very feminist, you can be more celibate. So it's good for me. Yes, feminist. By feminist, I mean bad feminine, aggressive with men. A lot of women in Argentina are aggressive with men. For me, it's better because I wanted to be celibate. Yes. In Russia, it's more complicated to be celibate because women are not aggressive, are nice. So it's more complicated. So for your evolution, your country is the best place. For my evolution, I wanted to be celibate was the best place. So why to protest? Because Argentina is full of feminists. No, for me it's good. Was perfect. Because I was poor, because this, because of that. No, it was perfect. Was the perfect situation for me to get liberation, and I did it. So instead of protesting because of your situation in your country, with your language, with your body, with your everything. No, no, it's what you receive to evolve. And it's perfect for you. That's no mistake. You see people all the time speak like there was a mistake. Oh, if I were being born, ¿sabes? If I had been born in some place, maybe, or if I had some opportunities, maybe. No, 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 no. It's okay like this. It's like me now protesting. Oh, if I had been an engineer instead of a yogi, maybe now I would be better. And no, it's like this. Perfect for your evolution. It's about your evolution, not to be rich or to be poor or no, your evolution or to have sex with someone. No, no, it's your evolution for your liberation. You came here for your liberation, not for sex or for money, for fame, to be famous. We didn't come here for that. All this is artificial. Artificial. So for you, it's perfect. When you stop protesting, you start to enjoy. You start with the beginning of enjoyment. While you are protesting, while you belong to some federation to protest all together, you are like a child. You are still like a child in this planet. Okay. For today is enough. Next satsanga will continue with this page 24 and speaking about the mind and the residual manifestation of the power of the cell. I will continue with this samsara and at the end of the page and all this. Page 24. For today is enough. Om Namah Shivaya.